And let's bring in the head coach of the area round-bound El Paso Eastwood Troopers. We're joined by Coach Juilo Lopez. Coach, how are you, my friend?
Good. I was going to say good morning, but I always know you guys are an hour ahead over there,
Yeah.
so good afternoon.
Yeah, it always throws us around here. How are things in the beautiful Sun City?
Can't complain. We're preparing for a game. So I guess anytime you're preparing for a game that, this late in the year, it's always a good thing, right?
And you guys are preparing for a game by virtue of doing something that hasn't been done in, more than 80 years, and that is to go on the road and beat a team from Abilene as an El Paso team. Look, I think people look at these first-round matchups with El Paso teams getting outside and going and playing, teams from maybe the little Southwest Conference or things like that, and say, oh, well, the El Paso team is the underdog. Do you guys talk about that? Do you feel that way? Do you harness that, or are you just saying, no, let's go out there and win a ball game?
I think a little bit of both. I think we all as coaches look for locker room material. So, I want to thank Matt for picking us as 17-point dogs. But, I think, overall, I think the reality is, being from El Paso and all of us here wanting to change the narrative for how we're looked at, across the state in terms of football. I think that we all know that when we go on the road and we have these games, there's always an opportunity to change the narrative. And in our case, I mean, like you said, the reality is that it really hadn't been done. It was pretty neat because the only other team, well, I'm going to take away 1939 for a second, but the only other team to do it and beat Abilene in the playoffs was Del Valle in 2001 from El Paso. So, and ironically enough, the head coach who did it was Chuck Belize, who was my head coach in high school. So I got a nice text from him yesterday, but, it was just an exciting night for all of us, for the program. I think I heard an interview with I'm just going to say Coach A because I don't want to butcher his name live on your show here, but
Coach Avanchan,
Coach John, Coach John over there from Boswell. I heard an interview he did when they upset Eaton, and he did an interview with I think Brian Gossett, and it just really rang true to me. He said that it might be an upset, and everybody else across the state didn't expect them to win, except for the people in that locker room. And I felt the same way Friday. I mean, I'm sure there was a lot of people who didn't think we had a chance or didn't think we'd win. But I'll tell you, our parents, our kids, our program, we've been building to this moment. And it took us 7 years. It kind of took us it's taking us year by year taking steps. But we're happy with where we're at right now. And, we're definitely not done yet.
Well, you guys made the 6.5-hour bus ride to Shotwell. And for a lot of teams, that would be a problem or a new thing. But it struck me in thinking about this weekend, you're a crazy person, and you have consistently put your team on a bus and said, why don't we drive to Mars and play a football game? You guys have spent a lot of time on the bus. Do you feel like now, going on the road for that playoff game, do you feel like that experience of taking those long road trips and playing teams from outside of El Paso and insisting on making those long road trips, do you feel like that benefited you on Friday night?
Yeah, absolutely. And I do want to correct you for a second. It definitely was not 6.5. It might be 6.5 if you're driving. But we left at 9:30 here in El Paso on Thursday, and we did not get to our practice at the Shotwell Auxiliary Field until 7 o'clock at night. So it was a long trip for us. But you know what? Every year we're trying to schedule and kind of be unorthodox with the way we do things. Obviously we played Plano. I'll tell you that Smithson Valley trip we took earlier in the year, and that was a great Smithson Valley team we played with Coach Hill, and they're still in it, obviously. And it was a hostile environment. It's probably as hostile as we've ever been in, with a great student section and a great crowd and great environment. And, the reason we do it is to prepare us for moments like this. And, obviously you don't go into the year wanting to go to Abilene for a first-round game. We would have loved to have them come here, but just the way it played out. I'll be honest, too. We played Abilene in 7-on-7 SQT in Midland and in Lubbock, and we beat them in both. And the Lubbock one had the state trip on the line. And I know you're going to get everybody pounding on the table saying 7-on-7 doesn't matter. But for us, when we take trips even like that, it's just a chance to expose our kids to different level of competition. It's a chance to expose our kids to a different part of the state. And, I'm not going to, I'm going to sit here and tell you, I think that those two 7-on-7 tournaments where we beat them were just, other chinks in the armor that we're trying to chip away at, that just give our kids confidence when we get into a game like this past Friday. And I think it matters, in our opinion, it matters.
Well, and that, to follow up on that, because I think that's an excellent point. I agree with the people who are like, oh, it doesn't matter from a schematic perspective, because you're not running your 7-on-7 offense out there against Abilene High on a Friday night in November. But if you want to talk about, in my opinion, I'm not in the room, you are, that strikes me as, yeah, we can hang with these guys. We can play with the guys from a confidence perspective, and as you know, the game is so much between the ears. From a confidence perspective, that's got to feel like, no, like this is a team we've played with. We can hang. We belong on the same field as them. There's no reason to bow down just because they're from Abilene.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, again, I would never say 7-on-7 is the true litmus test for how your year's going to go in November. But I'll tell you again, just from mentally, from a standpoint of, hey, we're going to get out there, we're going to compete. We're going to believe we can win, whether it's 7-on-7 or if we're playing them in checkers on the road. It doesn't matter. Like, every time we get a chance to suit up against them in any capacity and win a game, whether it's 7-on-7 or a football game or whatever, I just think it helps the psyche of the program. And it chips away at that armor that the rest of the state, at least at this point, has over El Paso. And it was a great night for El Paso in general.
Mm-hmm.
Eastlake beats San Angelo Central. Chapin and Coach Warner, they go for 2 and beat Caprock here. I mean, even just from a 6A perspective, to be able to split the night, I think was huge. And again, I just think it speaks to the quality of football we have here. It speaks to those chances we're getting to, again, chip away at that mentality or chip away at that narrative that we're one and done. And, again, we're just excited to be preparing for a game this week.
Juilo Lopez, the head coach of the El Paso Eastwood Troopers, joined us here on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation, #TF Today. Coach, a big reason why, one of the big reasons why you guys are playing and you guys are practicing this week is the play of QB1, Andrew Martinez, who has been sensational for you guys all year long. The numbers speak for themselves. He ran for the game-winning touchdown there in the final moments, or the final minutes of the game. You've been around a lot of quality quarterbacks out there, not only at Eastwood but in El Paso in general. What is it about Andrew Martinez that makes him special?
The kid's just a winner. I mean, and his mentality, it's been so special to be able to coach him really the last 3 years, because our quarterback, his sophomore year, Christian Castaneda, we lost him mid-year, so Andrew ended up taking over as the full-time starter as a sophomore. But I mean, like you said, the numbers speak for themselves, the wins speak for themselves. The kid is a winner. He's a great leader of our program. He's the first one in, last one out mentality with him, and I'm just lucky he's the Corvette and I'm just driving it. So I mean, for me, it's just been a blessing to have him. And if you don't know who Andrew Martinez is, I encourage you to look up his highlight film. Curtis Murillo is having. I mean, that guy's as dynamic as it gets. That guy plays like 160 plays a game, not only as our starting receiver but as our starting corner. He had the game-sealing interception. Sam Lopez is as good as the dual threat back as you get in that offense, with over 1,200 all-purpose yards. And then Aaron Rodriguez is just our big target on the outside with 14 touchdowns and nearing 1,000 yards. And I got to be honest too, the play, especially the last couple weeks of our defense, has really been the difference. I feel they're clicking at the right time. We made some adjustments after our loss to Eastlake that have really paid off right now, and we're reaping the benefit.
Now it's on to the next one, Coach. You mentioned it. You guys have a date this week, and you will take on equally surprising, Saginaw Boswell, who also knocked off. They knocked off a district champ last week. And I know that I don't want to ask you to give away your game plan. I know you mentioned listening to an interview with Coach John Amachan there at Boswell. Looking at film, what's it going to take for you guys to win on Friday night? What are you up against?
Yeah, we got to start fast. I think that's one of the biggest things that we've been able to do the last couple of weeks is just really when we start fast and get out ahead. I think that just bodes well for us. They're physical. Obviously, they played a great game against Eaton. They forced a lot of mistakes in a lot of different areas where they forced a couple of turnovers. They capitalized on them. So, for us, it's just doing what we do. We really believe in what we do down here. We believe in our schemes. We believe they're good enough to win. And I just think playoff football comes down to who makes the least amount of mistakes and who can get that one big play at the end that puts you out in front. So I think if we can do that, I really like our chances. And it's a special week for us. Eastwood has never been to the third round of the playoffs in our school history. You know, as a matter of fact, just even with this win on Friday, outside the fact it was Abilene, Eastwood had never, we got hired in 2015. We beat Friendship that first year in the playoffs, but prior to that, Eastwood had never even been an out-of-town team in the playoffs before. All the by-district wins were all in-town wins. So, it's special to have these opportunities to, again, not only beat an Abilene Friday, but to do something that this school has never done when it's been in existence for over 60 years. So we're excited at the opportunity, and we just got to play our best football to advance.
Well, and I imagine you have to be excited because it's only, you get to shave an hour off that drive. You guys are going to Lubbock Cooper. That's a hop, skip, and a jump compared to Abilene. So yeah, it's the just a quick jaunt over there to Lubbock.
Well, the only thing I could say is the trip back felt a little shorter with a trophy.
Yeah, I can imagine that's the case. He's Juilo Lopez. He's the head coach of the area round-bound El Paso Eastwood Troopers. Coach, congratulations again on the big win. Best of luck on Friday night. We'll be watching.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. There he goes, Juilo Lopez, the head coach of the El Paso Eastwood Troopers, of course, making some history out there in El Paso. It was a great week for El Paso.
Thanks so much for watching that video. If you would like more and to be notified when they come out, go ahead and click that subscribe button right down there. You can also watch Texas Football Today every day live at noon on TexasFootball.com, Facebook, Twitch, and right here on YouTube. For more of the best coverage of Texas football in the Lone Star State, go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe.